Hey, thanks for coming. Let's see in the chat who's already here. Any names I recognize? Well, I'm just going to read everyone who's here right now. I'm using Roses, Doongji, Russell, Sunny Southpaw, recognize that. Lady Napbug, hey. Alex, in Russian, it looks like. I can't read it. Cosma, hey Cosma. MC. Oops, wrong class. I don't know what that says. Keith, hey Keith. Yoon. Kyled, welcome Kyled. I'm making peanut butter fudge. That sounds good. So I can't be an active participant, no problem. Adobe says you need to use Adobe Character Animate. Is that would that be better for doing the animations instead of just like dragging the layer with my mouse? Welcome, Lisa. And yeah, I think that's everyone here. We've got I see people are still coming in. We'll give people a little bit of a few minutes to get in. We just started. We'll start the actual lesson at the top of the hour. Today is going to be a really useful lesson that, although it's advanced level technically, because all of the sentences you'll see with it are like completely like not, maybe like more advanced level sentences that it's going to be used in. The form itself, like making and understanding the form, is super beginner level. So that's good. You won't have to learn any complicated Korean to use this form yourself or to understand it. So in that way, it's beginner. However, I'm not going to classify something as beginner if it's something that you really will never use in the beginner level, and you should probably learn other things if you're still a beginner. But the way the form works, yeah, will be super, super simple. And the sentences, though, that it's used in, like I said, will be more complex sentences. Like, you're not going to need to say, like, based on the survey results, I decided to order a Big Mac. Like, you're not going to use it as a beginner like that. But, like, again, the way that it works is very basic. So if you're a beginner here and you see the title that says advanced, you can take notes. I just really wouldn't stress about the form. Don't devote any time to practicing it or studying it at this moment. But yeah, it is what it is. Julia, welcome. Cosmo says, I saw this grammar form yesterday while watching a Korean video. Really? Do you remember what the sentence was? We could take a look at it. Welcome, Mikey. I'm so happy to know. Hopbang. Hey, Hopbang. Nice. So happy to know Billy and his channel. I learned so much from him. Nice. We've got... Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Before we get started, and we'll start at the top of the hour, I wanted to remind everyone that if you have a topic you would like me to cover in a class, if there's a grammar form I haven't covered yet, or if there's something you'd like me to cover again, let me know on Discord, preferably, because I'm going to be getting new options for voting from tomorrow. So every Monday we vote for what option we want to learn for the next class. And those options all come from you guys. For the most part. A couple of them I have inserted myself because I realized I never taught it before. But for the most part, they've all come from you, including this lesson today was originally a member request. I don't remember who. I just wrote it down. Member said, please teach this. So I added it to my list and now we're teaching it. So if there's something you'd like me to cover in a live stream, any level is allowed, let me know. I probably have already taught most things, but if there's something that I've taught it, but you feel like you wish I covered it in a different way or like a different usage of it, or I covered it in like a different live stream with 10 other topics and you want me to make a separate live stream about that, that's okay too. Just let me know on Discord. I'm going to be adding new voting options tomorrow. So if there's anything you'd like me to cover, please tag me on Discord and you can make a request that way. Now, if you're a member of my Patreon page or a YouTube member, you get priority, but you can still make a suggestion. You still might get your name on the your suggestion on the list. Sunny Southpaw, yes, welcome. Yeah, feel free if you want to watch it later as well. This live stream, I mean, if you want to watch it like much later, if you mean like when you're an advanced learner, that's fine too. All of these live streams are left up on my channel after they're done. And the only thing is you miss out on the audience participation. You miss out on some of that. But yeah, they all get uploaded. And then I also make a abridged version of all of these classes, which you can watch. And those usually go up Tuesday or Wednesday. This week's, I think, will go on Tuesday. Next week, we've got some... Actually, this week and next week, we have some pretty big news. Why can't I talk? News, big changes coming to the channel. This Wednesday, for those of you who are following me on Patreon, you already know I have a podcast coming up. For those of you who do not follow me on Patreon, I have a podcast coming up. And that first episode will be available to all of my Patreon members. Now, you have to be an actual Patreon member, not a free follower, but an actual paid member. So those start from just $1. And if you're one of the paid members, you'll get to listen to all of those episodes in advance. I believe the first one, it'll be more than a week in advance, but typically about a week. And you can listen to the first episode. There's also a transcript this coming week on Wednesday. So like less than 3 days from now. Yeah. Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. Less than 3 days. You can listen to and follow along with the first episode. And then next week, it'll go live on my YouTube channel as a video, and it'll also be available for streaming separately in audio format if you prefer that. So it's a podcast with a video element as well. So yeah, it's an audio podcast though first. So you don't need the video, but the video gives you some benefits. There's some funny stuff that's happening in the video that you'll miss out on the audio version, but all the information is in the audio version. So yeah, that's going to be launching this week. If you are one of my special Patreon supporters, a few of you are. I think there might be one or two of you watching right now. If you're one of the highest tier supporters on my Patreon page, not only will you get to listen to the audio version of the podcast this coming Wednesday, you'll also get to watch the video version of the podcast on Wednesday. So you get the whole thing. Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, this will be the first episode. I'll have... actually, I've already filmed the first two, working on the third one currently. And hopefully this will be a regular series, at least for the time being. We'll see how you like it, how it'll change. I don't know if it'll stay the same, but we'll try it out, and like to do something like this every couple weeks. Oh, and there's one more thing you should know. Starting from Monday next week, not tomorrow, but a week after that, will be the debut of the new Monster X Korean analysis series. So those of you who suggested, most people, by a slim margin, most people suggested Monster X as the next group that I should research. So I've done that, and the first episode is going to be coming out next week, Wednesday. So you'll get one episode a week for 6 weeks in a row. That'll also start the same week as the podcast. Droxy says, bonjour à tous. Hello, everyone. I can't pronounce it, but I know what that says. You've really helped me with improving Korean. Nice. Taru, welcome. So yeah, we'll get started with the live stream in just less than 15 minutes. In the meantime, if anyone has any questions regarding Korea or Korean or anything like that, now is a good time to ask, because now I am, except for drinking some tea over here, now I'm mostly free to answer your questions. It's uongcha, which is what's that called? Burdock? Yeah, I think it's burdock. That's the name. It's some like weird like herb style vegetable thingy that they put in they also put it in, I think that's the one they put in kimbap too, like that blackish kind of stringy vegetable. Anyway, whatever, or it's a root. I don't know what it is. But it's also a tea. Pretty much just flavored water. It's like La Croix if it were not carbonated. It sounds horrible. What important things do I need to learn before going to Korea? You need to learn about, I wouldn't worry about Korean if you're going to Korea soon at all. I would just learn how to say thank you. That's going to be good enough, because you can say thank you even in situations where you're not able to speak. That way you can at least say something. I would learn, I would get the transportation apps in advance, download Kakao Map or Naver Map and Naver. Those I would get. I would get a good dictionary. Naver Dictionary has an app. I know there are some others. I would get Google Translate on my phone because it can take a picture of something and it can translate it from a picture, which is really useful for like translating menus. If you go to a place like outside of the tourist area and you need to translate a menu really quick, or you need to ask someone directions or something, or you get lost and if it's someone who doesn't speak English, like let's say you're outside of Seoul, I would get that. I would focus mostly on what my attack plan is, like what things I'm going to do in what order. I wouldn't really worry about like learning things so much just because it's such a short time. I would spend more time planning the trip. Keith asks an interesting question. Keith says, is there a particularly good breakfast chain or meal I should try in Korea? Keith, you've unlocked something about Korea that people don't talk about. And that is, there is no, except with a few exceptions in tourist areas, there's no such thing as like breakfast restaurant in Korea. There is no Korean breakfast. If you go to a restaurant at 8 in the morning and knock on the door, no one's going to open the door for you. No one's going to answer. There is no such thing as that. Now, there are restaurants that are open early in the morning, but they're not breakfast places. They would be 해장국 or like 청국장. Basically, it's like some places like this, or what else would it be? 청국장, or yeah, they would be like soup restaurants. The reason is those are dishes that people traditionally think will help you get over a hangover. Do they help? Not at all. But you feel like it's helping because you're eating like a really hot soup. You know, you're drinking some water with it. It's like it's opening up your pores. It's making your ears go like, you know, from the heat and the spiciness. But those are the only restaurants you're going to find in the morning. Another exception would be cafes that open up early in the morning. Many cafes will open up by 8 o'clock. Some will be 7:30, but the majority are 8. And cafes will have like the regular stuff you can get throughout the day. So it's not like a special breakfast meal. There's nothing that's like, oh, I can get breakfast here if I go early. It's the exact same stuff. You can go in and you can get tea. Sometimes I would go to cafes in the morning if I was meeting a friend and I got there early. I would go into a cafe and I would get like a hot chocolate and like a crumble cake, or like a what's that called? Not a croissant, but like the biscuit thing. Scone. I'd get a scone or something like that. Or you can get a bagel, which they're not that good. They're not like a bagel. When I say bagel, they're not quite like what you're thinking, but you can get a bagel shaped ring of bread with like a sneeze amount of sour cream on top of it. And that's what you would get for breakfast. Jongsby asks, can you explain Iwang Kime? So I have actually done a live stream all about Kime, but I also have lessons about it. So I would check those out first. But Kime is just while you're already doing something, taking the opportunity to do something else. And Kime is used to mean like in the opportunity of. But yeah, check out my other videos about that. I have a lesson if you search Kime on my channel. Yeah, here comes the food chat. I could talk all day about food. I had to stop myself. Kitty Mommy asks, are there any other Korean teas that you like? I was thinking of trying barley or corn. So barley and corn are very similar in their flavor. Barley is hori. Oh, this is the prerequisite for the lesson. This is all you need to know before we start the lesson today, is how to use 으로, meaning using, like 연필로 쓰다, like to write with a pencil, or like 펜으로, write with a pen. Like that, or using a bicycle. That's the only prerequisite. Man, this red pen is just horrible for this board. Make sure we're okay on time. So yeah, you were asking about teas. So pori is barley and 옥수수 is corn. You can get 옥수수차 and 보리차 both in Korea. They have a similar flavor. They're like identical, really. But I feel like pori, I mean, there's a difference, tiny bit difference, but to me, they kind of have the same effect. They have the same feel for my mouth. Like it's the same experience. Pori is a little bit stronger though, I think, if you compare them back to back. Now, my favorite, so you can get 옥수수, like 수염차, you can get 보리차. My favorite though of these is a barley black tea that you can get. It's not black tea. It's not like, it's not actual black tea. It's just called 보리 블랙. I've actually sometimes seen it at supermarkets in the US, but it's just a stronger version of 보리 tea. Because when you make barley tea, you soak the roasted barley. It's in like a canvas sack. You soak that in the water, and you don't want to do it too long, like overly, because it can just get kind of like bitter if you're boiling it. But what they do is they add more of that. So it's just more barley. So it ends up with a stronger barley flavor. And if you make that cold, serve that cold, oh, it's so good. You can buy it. It's in the refrigerated section of like every convenience store now. But that's my favorite type of barley tea, my favorite of these. 옥수수 is a little bit more like clean, I feel. If you want something that's just not water, I would go with 옥수수. If you want something that actually distinctly tastes more like a tea, I would go for this. But neither of them have any sugar or anything. Now, if you're actually like legitimately thirsty, just get water. But if you're like, I kind of want to drink some water, but I'm not like super thirsty, then yeah, I would definitely go for puri 블랙. Or 블랙 puri. It might actually be 블랙 puri. I always just see it says the word black in English. So I think it might actually be 블랙 puri, not puri 블랙, but same thing. Okay, let me see. Oh, Hopbang asks a question. Let's check here. Hopbang asks a question. I heard you should not flush your toilet paper in some restrooms. Yeah, restrooms in Korea will tell you which ones not to do that. They'll have a sign that says don't flush toilet paper in the toilet. And it'll just be older buildings, like really old buildings, like buildings that were at least from the 70s and before. Some of them, the plumbing is so old that it's small and it can't handle dealing with like toilet paper. Something as simple as toilet paper, just can't handle it. And if you flush toilet paper, like if you flush a little, it's probably fine. But if you were to actually flush like a handful, then it'll clog and it'll overflow. So they'll always tell you that though. It'll never be like, surprise, you couldn't flush toilet paper here. It'll always have a sign. They'll know. It'll always have a sign that says don't throw toilet paper. It'll say it in English too, like no toilet paper, or they'll have like a picture of like a screaming toilet bowl or something like that. So you'll always know. Okay, let's see. Are you in Korea right now? Oh, I see. Yeah, Keith's like, not at all. Chara asks about speech levels. Do I have any tips or video recommendations for speech levels? Yes. Hold on. I'm going to send you a link in the chat. 1 second. Okay, I just put a link in the chat for you. This probably isn't the answer you expected, but I have a full course. It's free. 100% free. I don't even have a book for it if you wanted. So you can't spend money on it even if you tried. But yeah, that'll teach you all about politeness levels. And I would say it's fine even if you're a beginner, but just don't stress about the complexities. I mean, part of the course is I simplify it, so it's not really about like complex situations. It's more about simplifying how politeness levels work. So I think you would benefit from it even if you're not at a higher level to use all of the details that I do provide in there. Okay, let's see here. I used to eat lunch once a week at an old lady's house at my church, and she would make homemade porita, and it was so strong and sweet. Educational mousse. Sweet? That sounds, no offense to her. Actually, you know what? offense to her. That's offensive. No, 보리차 is not sweet. Why would she add sugar to it? That sounds absolutely horrible. I mean, I like, you know, some teas, it's nice to add sugar if it's like a flavorful, like a fruity tea. Yeah, sure, you can add sugar or have it without. But barley? Give me her address. Educational move. Give me her address. It should not be sweet. It should be strong. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it could be strong. I'll say that because not everyone likes the stronger type of barley tea. But yeah, it should not be sweet. Tony asks, are bidets common in Korea? Not common, but more common than the US. I could probably count on one finger how many times I've seen a bidet in the US. And it was only at a hotel. I've never seen like a regular public place, a bidet ever. But in Korea, it's fairly not rare. If you see one, it's not a big surprise, I'll say. But it'll usually just be like nicer places. Like you're not going to go to a restaurant and their bathroom has a bidet in it randomly. It'll be more like you go to a kind of a nice restaurant or like a nice building that has a restaurant that has like a bathroom in it. And that will have a bidet as an option. It's more like that, I would say. I wouldn't use them in public places though, personally. Oh, welcome, Lexica. 안녕하세요, 빌리 선생님. 안녕하세요, 렉시카 학생. 학생님, I guess. I accidentally flushed one time in a middle school I was teaching English at. The sign was written in Korean. I only been there for like 2 months, so it wasn't good yet. Hopefully you're okay. It's not that it'll clog if you flush toilet paper in it once. It's more like they know if people flush a lot of toilet paper or if it keeps having toilet paper flushed, it'll clog. So you could be the last person that flushes toilet paper and it clogs. And I mean, who's going to use like one sheet of toilet paper anyway? So that's why it's like, it's better not to do it. I just try to avoid those bathrooms if I can. Like if I find a bathroom that says don't flush toilet paper, I'll never go to that bathroom again. I'll be like, okay, mentally, let's avoid that. I have a list in my head of, because I've been all across, you know, all over Seoul and everything. So I know which bathrooms in Korea are nice and which subway stations have good bathrooms and where. So I'll sometimes purposely get off at a different stop if I'm going somewhere, if I have to use the bathroom, just because I know that station has a nice bathroom. Some stations, they'll actually have hidden bathrooms too. Like every station will, okay, here's a secret. You can't tell anyone this. If you want to find bathrooms in stations, look for the water fountains because the plumbing is going to be connected. So the bathrooms are usually within sight of the water fountains. Find a water fountain that's not near the main entrance. So if you're looking for the bathroom and there's a bathroom right by the main entrance where everyone's going in or out, that's not going to be the cool bathroom. That's going to be the busy one. But stations will have bathrooms toward each section that'll have water fountains. Like anytime you see plumbing or pipes coming out of the walls anywhere, look in that area for a bathroom. And it's common that stations will have another bathroom set that's away from the main area, that it's still open. It's checked all the time and clean, but you'll go in there, it'll be like dead quiet. There might be like one dude in there. There will be like a water fountain there that you can use all for yourself. The bathroom's super clean because it keeps getting checked, but no one's going in it. You have privacy and you'll have, you know, fully stocked soap and sometimes hand towels and everything. So that's what I like to look for, is you find the less popular entrances for the stations and then you find the bathrooms near there. So that's kind of my trick, what I do. And then I've just kind of keep track in my head, like which stations have the nicer ones. Amusing Roses says, should I start with the politeness levels courses? No, politeness level courses is not a Korean class about, it's not that kind of thing. It's reinforcing concepts. It's not about teaching you like, here's how to speak Korean and here are the politeness levels. It assumes you already know the basics and it adds on to that. And some stuff it reteaches, but only for the purpose of reinforcing them to add on to it. So no, you definitely want to start with the beginner course. Yeah, Tony says toilet plumbing, the fountain connection. Yeah, if you're at a, let me check the time. Okay, I got to start the lesson, so I can't talk anymore about food or toilets. Okay, yeah. No, this is important stuff. It's important stuff. Okay. The lesson we're going to be learning today is about using this one word, 바탕. Now, 바탕 is just a regular word. It's a noun. It's just a noun that means foundation or basis, or like the background or the ground for something, right? Just something's foundation, what it's founded on, what its background is, that sort of vague meaning. So this is an abstract noun that has all of these meanings. You're typically not going to use this noun very much by itself. You're not going to see it used much by itself, but that's what it means. And the way that this form works is we're going to be taking this word to say something is based on something. Something is the foundation of something, or something's background is something. But we would just say something's based on something. And the way to do that is first you're going to take what it's based on, and you're going to put that first before this. So let me show you how it works. So you take a noun, whatever something is based on, and you attach the object marker to it. So that'll be after a consonant or l after a vowel. So if it's based on a book, well, book is 책. So 책을 바탕, and then you attach 으로. 책을 바탕으로. That's it. That's all you need to know about how to use this form. Now, there's a little more to it. I'll give you some more information about it, but that's all you need to know about how to use it. So, what is this going to end with? If you're saying something based on something, you're going to say something you did based on something. Like, I did something based on something, or this is a something based on something. This will always end with an action verb. So the sentence will always do something based on a noun, or maybe it is something that did something based on that noun. Like it might be a movie that was created based on a noun. So you'll always have some sort of action following it. Now, I have one more note for you if you are actually at an advanced level. If you're not, don't worry about this note. But technically, there is something that's hiding in this grammar form that is optional and usually does not appear. Again, this is an advanced note, so if you're not advanced, just ignore this. You really don't need to know this. But there is this is actually hiding inside of the form. If you're advanced, you can know this. 하다, conjugated into 해. So, or 하여, which is the same thing. This is just more of a formal written version of 해. So 하여 is actually hiding after 바탕으로. So you could say, like, if you had, this is a movie, like, let me give you a different sentence. Let's see. I studied based on the past exam questions. So you would have, I studied something, 바탕으로 공부했어요. So I studied based on the results of the past exam questions, like that. Sorry, I can't speak. This is actually in there. It's just not said or written. So it would be 바탕으로 하여 공부했어요, like that. So it's there, but it's hiding. But you can just keep that in mind. But like I said, don't worry about it because you won't see it there 99% of the time. But it is there. The reason it's there, again, this is advanced, so you can ignore this if you're not quite at that level. The reason is because you're doing something based on this noun, and then you do whatever the action verb. Like if we were to say, like, I studied based on the book, 책을 바탕으로 공부했어요. Well, you're not saying I studied using the background object. Why is there an object? Noun? Because you have to use an object marker with an action verb. If you were to say 공부했어요, then you're studying the book. 책을 바탕으로 공부했어요. It means that you studied the book, not that you studied something based on the book. So this object marker is referring to this verb that's hidden, that comes after it. So you're doing something, you're doing the noun based on this, and then whatever you're doing to it comes after. If this sounds complicated, don't worry. Don't worry. This is for anyone who's watching and is thinking like, how is it the object marker after the noun if the action verb at the end of the sentence is not doing anything to that noun? If this makes sense to you, then this is who the explanation is for. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Okay, hopefully that'll help like one person who's watching this live stream later, who's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course, Billy, you've done it again. Like that. Okay, so yeah, it's hiding in here, but it's not used. Oh, I got a donation. Hold on. Lexica gave a 7-minute donation and wrote, 고마움을 바탕으로 기부. I'm donating based on thanks. I mean, I understand. I donate based on thanks. I mean, you use the form correctly. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm donating based on my thanks. Sure, I'll accept it. You know, I'll accept it because you paid me. I'll accept it. Okay, we'll start small. Anyone else that donates is going to have their name written bigger than Lexica. So Lexica will be the tiniest donation name on the board, and they'll only grow after this. Okay, let me see if there's anything else we need to know. Oh, gratitude. Yeah, thankfulness. I'm donating based on thankful. I mean, sure, but we could say I'm donating based on gratitude. But I'm still like, would I say I'm donating based on gratitude in English or in Korean? I'm not sure. Maybe a native can chime in. They're like, oh no, Billy, that's a very formal way to say it. I've never heard it before, but I understand what you mean now. Okay. There's another thing you should know about this. Actually, I don't need to erase it. The noun that you use before here can also be a verb. You could use like an action verb. For example, I wrote an article based on what I heard. So in this case, based on what I heard will have to come from an action verb. 들은 것, literally 듣다, to listen, to hear. 들은 것, literally the things that I heard. So you can say 들은 걸 or 들은 것을 바탕으로, based on what I heard, literally based on the thing that I heard. So you might see this form come after either 것을 or 걸, same thing, and then 바탕으로, and that means based on some sort of action that comes before it. So it's common to use this with verbs as well, but remember you still have to change it into a noun by getting the noun form of that verb with 것. So again, that'll be 것을 or 걸. Okay, we're almost done. Before I start giving you some sentences. Oh yeah. So this form means based on. What kind of sentences do you think we're going to be using this in? Do you think we're going to be using this to our friends and family? Do you think we're going to be using this to our boss or in a speech or to strangers? What kind of feeling do you think that based on gives? What kind of nuance does that have? Just think about that. I'll give you like 10 seconds to think about it. You can write in chat, like what kind of sentences might you use this in? If I said the word, if I was teaching an English lesson, when would you say based on? I mean, to be fair, we might say based on in any situation in English. Yeah, it's like a movie. It's like based on some book, dude. You could use it to your friends in slang. In Korean, this form, meaning based on, is really only used in more of like fancy speech. So it can be used in formal speaking. And it can be used in informal speech, but it's most commonly used in a little bit more fancy, a little bit more formal speech because it has a little bit of a fancy feeling. If you want more of an everyday feeling in Korean, just more of a standard conversational, less fancy version, you can simply use the grammar form 으로. 으로 just means using. Because this form actually does kind of just mean using. Look at it. Noun, 바탕, again, 바탕 means like the foundation or the background, and 으로, using. So using the background of the book. For example, if we have a book that's made based on a movie. For example, if we have the other way. For example, if we have a movie that's made based on a book. Well, it's made using the foundation of a book, is what you're saying literally. 책을 바탕으로 만든, like that. So you can do the same thing without adding 바탕. You can just use the particle 으로, meaning using or with. So you can say 책으로 만든 영화, a movie made with a book. A movie made using a book, like that. Or maybe I studied, instead of based on past exam questions, you can just say I studied using past exam questions. Instead of saying, please write a business plan based on the contents of last week's meeting, you could just say, please write a business plan using the contents of last week's meeting. Instead of saying, I fixed it based on the feedback I got from my friends, you could just say, I fixed it using the feedback I got from my friends. Interesting. So this form is completely optional. You don't need to say based on at all. You could just say using and have the same overall meaning, albeit without that extra nuance of something's being based on something, that you're using it as a foundation, right? You're not just using it, but you're using it as the base, as the background. So that's the nuance that this form adds, but it's not required. Alternatively, I wrote that weird. You can also use the particle 가지고. This is not the same as the grammar form 가지고, like if you do like 해 가지고, like doing something because. This is a different form that uses the object marker after a noun, and it also can have the meaning of using something. So, 책을 가지고, 책으로, using a book. They both have that similar meaning. I have a separate live stream about this if you search on my channel, but you can use either of these instead of 바탕으로 and still have the same grammatical meaning. You just lose that nuance of it being like the background or the basis of something. Okay. I'm going to read your comments. They say, quite a rigid feeling. Yeah, a little bit rigid. Like, not super strict or anything, but it does have a slightly like, I'm trying to say this exact expression sort of feeling to it. Like a little bit rigid. Like, I want to express it this way. Formal written, yeah, a little bit like that. Media science, formal settings, yeah. 사실을 바탕으로 만들어진 영화. A movie that's made based on the truth. 사극은 역사적 사실을 바탕으로 창작된다. Maybe 되었다, like 됐다. It was created. 들은 걸 바탕으로 결정했어요. Andrea, very nice. I decided based on what I heard. And you could have also said 들은 걸로. So just use 것으로. Or 들은 거를 가지고. 들은 걸 가지고. Like that. Or 들은 걸로 결정했어요. I just decided on what I heard. Like that. So this adds the nuance of something being based on something. Something is the foundation. So you're using it, literally using it as the foundation for doing something. So let's do some sentences. I wish I could have you write this sentence, but it'll be a bit too long. So I'm just going to give you this one. Hopefully there's space there. Okay, yeah, there's barely space. Okay, this is our first sentence and it's very long, but let's talk about it. 지난주, last week. 회의. 회의 would be a meeting, like a business meeting. 내용 is the contents, what was discussed at the business meeting last week. 내용을 바탕으로, so based on the contents of last week's meeting, 사업 is business, 계획, business plan, 써주세요. So please write, 쓰다, 써주세요. Please write the business plan based on the contents of last week's meeting. This is a long sentence. But that's okay, right? You still understand it, right? Right? 지난주 회의 내용을 바탕으로 사업 계획을 써주세요. So please write a business plan based on the contents of last week's meeting. That's a mouthful. 지난주 회의 내용을 바탕으로 사업 계획을 써주세요. So please write a business plan based on the contents of last week's meeting. I want to give you another sentence. That was a bit long. I feel bad because it was too long. Let's do a shorter sentence. Okay. I'm going to give you one word and I want you to make the sentence. Okay, this is actually not a bad word to learn. 기출 문제 is the basically previous exam questions. So like example exam questions. Like if you're studying for a test and you want the previous year's topic, kind of like that. So these are the problems that were already previously given out or released problems, questions. So I want you to write a sentence. I studied based on the past exam questions. This should be a simple sentence because you really only need this one word. The rest should be words you know. So I studied based on the past year's exam questions. So if someone said, oh, how'd you study for the TOPIK test? Well, I studied based on the last year's questions. Okay, I want you to make this sentence. Keith, so fast. Valeria, nice. I'll give you just 1 minute before I go to the next one. Let's see, how are we on time? 21. Okay, let's see. 20 seconds. 20 seconds. I'm going to start writing it. Oh, we got... Oh, say, Andrea, you can't do that. You can't just say save as above. You got to type it. Nice. Good thing. We're not doing that form. Yes, MC. Although we will be doing 3 additional forms today that you can use in the same way, which I'll cover as soon as we do a few more sentences for this. There are actually several forms you can use in this same way. So if you want to be creative, I'll give you some other options. Yes. Claire says, I can't type Hangul fast enough. I've written it by hand, I promise. All right, that's good. I'll accept that. 저는 기출 문제. So this would be previous year's questions, like previous questions for a test. So using 바탕으로, the previous year's questions, based on those questions, 공부했어요. I studied. So I studied using the foundation of the previous year's test questions. So I studied based on past exam questions. 저는 기출 문제를 바탕으로 공부했어요. 저는 기출 문제를 바탕으로 공부했어요. 저는 기출 문제를 바탕으로 공부했어요. So I studied based on the previous year's exam questions. I'll leave this up for just 30 seconds before we go to the next one. 밑바탕. Yeah, different word. Pretty easy, huh? Pretty easy. You just take a noun and you put the object marker after it, and then you slap on 바탕으로, and you're done for the most part. Okay. Remember how I said that default, there's actually a verb 하다 that's hiding in there? Well, you can see that verb come out when it's being used to describe something as an adjective. In this case, we're describing the noun 영화, a movie. So it's a movie that is based on, in this case, 실화. 실화 is a true story. So 이것은, this is 영화예요. This is a movie that is 한, which is from the verb 하다. So something that is based on a true story. So 하다 is actually hiding in here, but if you have a different action verb, you'll never see it. So if we use the action verb 만들다, if we wanted to say it was a movie that was made based on a true story, then 바탕으로 만들어진, you can use 만들어지다 to be made. 영화예요. You wouldn't need the 한 anymore since there's something else that can be used there. In this case, we're saying it is a movie that is based on a true story. 이건 실화를 바탕으로 한 영화예요. 이건 실화를 바탕으로 한 영화예요. So this is a movie that is based on a true story. 이건 실화를 바탕으로 한 영화예요. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a minute. I do have a typing game if you're trying to get faster at typing Korean. Let me see if I have a link to that. I have a link to that. Type Korean. Maybe here? I'm not sure if that goes to the video with a link for the game, but I have a game that I made like a few years ago. I did an update of it like I think a couple years ago, so it's not out of date. It still works, and you can practice typing, and it has like different game modes and stuff. But yeah, you could try that, but really it'll just take a lot of time and practice, so don't worry about it. I wouldn't call myself a game dev because I made one game, but it's a free game. Actually, I guess technically I made 3, but I only released 2. There was an original version of the typing game that I made before, which was just a simpler version of it that I made, and then I decided to remake it like better quality and everything. And then there is an unreleased game that I made about 15 minutes into the game and then stopped because in order to do it, I would have needed to hire an artist at that point, and there wasn't enough interest in the game for me to spend thousands of dollars at that time to do like a full game. So I still have it, but it's yeah, it only goes up to like the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. Yes. Okay, next sentence. Ah, can I give you this sentence? This is kind of a difficult sentence, but I want to give it to you anyway. I'm going to give you some words. Okay, here are 4 words. We have 목격자, which is a witness to something. 듣다, to hear. 쓰다, to write. And 기사 would be a news article, like any sort of article. Not a grammar article. I believe that would be 부사. But 기사 would be like a written article. So I wrote an article based on what I heard from the witnesses or from the witness. So I wrote an article based on what I heard from the witness. Can you make this sentence? It's a little difficult. So if you can't make it, well, congratulations. It means you're probably not intermediate level yet, but that's okay. I'll tell you the answer though in just a minute, so you won't have to wait too long. Well, maybe a couple of people will try it out. Go ahead, give it a try. Meanwhile, if you're not even able to try it, now is a good time to ask a question. Maybe I'll answer one question while we're waiting. Oh my God, Valeria, nice. Let's see if any other people can get it. I mean, it doesn't have to be that. There are other ways you can kind of put it together with like different endings and stuff like that. There's another particle you could have used instead. Oh no, Valeria, there's a tiny mistake. Tiny mistake. Remember, 바탕으로 comes after the object marker, not after 으로. I almost didn't catch it the first time. Well, I didn't catch it the first time. I almost didn't catch it the second time. Also, maybe I'm not sure. Maybe depending on how things go, I might share with you something special also after this live stream. Something I'm looking at. I might share you a sneak peek of something. Maybe after we finish this live stream. We'll see. We'll see. Okay. Yes. Oh, nice, Keith. I like that. You used, okay. Nice, Keith. Very good. I don't want to say it out loud to spoil it for anyone else, but that's good. Andrea, nice. Okay, Jihoon Lee wrote was written. Trying to be fancy. Do you have any tips on how to form Korean sentences with such a different grammar structure from English without thinking too hard? Yes. I don't know how to pronounce her name, so I won't try, but I have a full course about that actually. My latest course I did, the sentence connector course, is exactly about that question. The trick is when you learn a lot of Korean, you realize that Korean sentences, even the really long and complex ones, are built on short, simple sentence blocks. And those are connected with sentence connectors. You can have like, I can't believe I couldn't find the person who had stolen my shoes last week. You might have like a long sentence like that. But in Korean, it's built up of last week, stole my shoes, person, couldn't find, cannot believe. Like that sort of believe, cannot. Like it's like pieces of that stuck together. And if you know, a lot of sentence connectors can help with that, as well as if you're not quite ready for that, Pre-sentence connectors, I'd say another piece that you should learn first is conjugating verbs into adjectives. So description verbs into adjectives and action verbs into adjectives. And I have free cheat sheets all about that. If you go to my Patreon page, this is not a ad. You can get them in my free tier on Patreon. These are free. I have 12, believe it or not, I have 12. How do I say 12 on my finger? You know what I mean. 12 cheat sheets, and 2 of them are conjugating verbs into adjectives, because you need that in order to say something like the person who stole my shoes. 내 신발을 훔친 사람. You need the 훔치다 to become 훔친, or 훔쳤던, had stolen, depending on what tense you want. In order to do that, you need to know how to change action verbs and descriptive verbs into adjectives. And I have 2 separate cheat sheets for that. So I would try that. And then I would also check out the beginner course, because I teach those as well in the beginner course. And then the sentence connectors course would be like for long, complex sentences. Because really the long sentences are just a bunch of short pieces that are like, I did this and then, but then he did this, but while doing this, they're all just sentence connectors stuck together to make a long sentence. That's the advice I would give, is just don't worry about long, complex sentences. They're simpler than they look. I want to write 방탄 instead. Yes. 바탕소년단. Yes, of course. BTS stands for based on. 고백을 바탕으로 기사. Okay, I like that. Nice. Oh, Lee asks nota and tuda. I actually have a separate live stream all about that, so check it out. Really short answer is tuda is for doing something and leaving it for a longer period of time. But that's pretty much it. So like things that you're writing down to memorize are going to use tuda, like remembering is going to use tuda. But other than that, it's just things that you're planning on doing and leaving there for a longer period of time is tuda. Tuda is more like leave it and forget about it, whereas nota is just put it down for now. And yeah, I have a whole live stream about that also if you check my live stream playlist. Okay. Oops. 목격자들, so witnesses, 에게서, from the witnesses, 듣다, to hear. So, 들은 것, the thing that I heard from the witnesses. So, 것을, which in this case becomes 걸, shortened, 바탕으로, so based on the things I heard from the witnesses. 기사, a news article, 기사를 썼어요. So I wrote an article based on what I heard from the witnesses. 목격자들에게서 들은 걸 바탕으로 기사를 썼어요. 목격자들에게서 들은 걸 바탕으로 기사를 썼어요. So I wrote an article based on what I heard from the witnesses. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a couple seconds, and we're going to go on to the last sentence for this form. The sentences I make are still so basic. It's fine. If you can make sentences, that's good. If you can make basic sentences that are correct, you're doing better than like most people that I encounter in Korea. Okay. Last sentence for this form, and then I have 3 more forms that I'm going to quickly introduce you to, which have the exact same meaning as this. So that'll be pretty short. Okay, one more sentence for this. wrote it even worse the second time. Because I'm running out of space here. Okay, let me just get over here so I can write it better. There we go. That's a little bit better. Still horrible, but more readable this time. Okay. 친구들에게 받은. So, 받다, to receive, to get. So, 받은, feedback. So, feedback that I received, past tense, 받은, 에게, from. In this case, 친구들에게 받은. So, feedback I got from my friends, 을 바탕으로. So, using that as the foundation for what I'm going to do, what did I do? 고치다, to fix. 고쳐보다, to try fixing. 고쳐봤어요. So I tried fixing it based on the feedback I got from my friends. 친구들에게 받은 피드백을 바탕으로 고쳐봤어요. So I fixed it based on the feedback that I received from my friends. 친구들에게 받은 피드백을 바탕으로 고쳐봤어요. Okay, I'll leave this up for just a minute. This is our last sentence for this form. I wish I could say that there's more you need to know, that there's some tricky rules to using it, but that's really it. You just take a noun and the object marker, 바탕으로, and then whatever you did based on that noun. That's it. I write better than I speak. Usually that's true. Mafaz, no. You could say, I will fix it. Okay. So that's all you need to know about 바탕으로, but there are several synonyms of 바탕 that can also be used in this exact same way. So we're going to talk about those briefly. These aren't the only ones, but these are the most common. 토대, 기초, and 기반. Now, these are synonyms, but they don't have the exact same meaning. Now, 바탕, as I mentioned, is an abstract word that can mean like the foundation or the basis, but it can also mean like the background for something or like the ground of something, like that. Well, these words are less abstract, so their nuance will be slightly different. They're used in the same way by adding 로 or 으로. So you have 토대로, 기초로, and 기반으로. The nuance difference, though, is that 토대 doesn't mean foundation, basis, background, or ground. This means like the structure or the base of something, like an actual building structure. That's a building. Like an actual building structure or the building's base. So when you were saying, so if you were to say like, I based it on something, it has that nuance, 토대, versus 바탕으로, kind of just sounds like it is based on, that's the foundation of it. This has more of the nuance of something's actually like physically based on something. Like that's the structure. So it just gives that nuance of something having the structure of something. Is that very different? No, it has the same use, and you can use all of these in the same situations, but it just has a different nuance. 기초 is a regular word you're going to use commonly that means the basics. And the nuance of this word, 기초, which means basics, is the starting point. So if you were to say, I made a movie based on a book, it has the same meaning. I made a movie based on a book, just like if you were to use 바탕으로. But now the nuance of this sentence is that was the starting point. Like, I'm still doing lots of other work, but I started out with using this book as a base, is what it kind of feels like. Again, the usage is the exact same, but now you have the nuance of starting from something. And this one has the nuance of something being like the actual structure of something. Like that's what's forming it. And finally, 기반으로. 기반 means an actual like a base. Like maybe like a military base of something. But that's pretty much it. Like a ground. So it kind of has the feeling of like, oh, something's like building up from here. Like that's the base. But you can use any of these in the exact same situation. So if you see a sentence using either of these, it has the same meaning and you don't need to translate it differently. Just slightly different nuance. I have 2 sentences with these forms I'm going to share. Not all the forms. I think, is there another one in the worksheet? No, I'll just do 2 for today. Okay. So again, these have the same meaning, but different nuances, but these ones are also less common. So you're not going to see these used as much as you may see 바탕으로. So let me give you a couple sentences. Oops. Not starting with the results. Okay. 설문조사. That's a survey. Like if you ask people a survey. 설문조사 결과. The results of a survey. So the survey results를 기초로. Again, just think of it like 바탕으로. So based on the results of the survey, 시장 means literally a market. Like if you go to the 시장, you go to the market. But it also means like a market, like a business market, like market research. 시장을 분석하다. 분석하다 is to analyze. So I analyzed, 분석했어요, the market based on the results of the survey. You can translate it this way. But remember, 기초 means basics, and it has the nuance of something starting from somewhere. So this has the feeling of saying, I analyzed the market starting with the results of the survey. Starting with the results of the survey. So it still means like based on, but it has the nuance now of like, that was the first thing that I did. Even though, again, it's still literally the same meaning, based on. So I analyzed the market based on the results of the survey. 설문조사 결과를 기초로 시장을 분석했어요. But now it has that nuance of like starting with, like that was the first thing that I did. Okay, I have one more sentence. I'll leave this up for just a minute. One can maybe say you got by with a little help from, yes. Cosma, you're asking about 의하다. No, that would be more like according to. I have a separate live stream about that. That's like something is relying on something. Like it needs that thing. So it's like according to how that, like you're doing something according to something. I mean, you could change the sentence. Like I made a book according to I made a movie according to the true story, but that doesn't have the same meaning as that you're basing it on something. But yeah, you can check out the live stream I have on it. I mean, grammatically, you can think of like, oh yeah, you can replace it with this, but you wouldn't do it because the nuance of that would be completely different. 토대로 is more concrete, sure. Yes, it does have that more of a concrete feeling. Waka waka. Okay, one more sentence. I wrote that way too big. Let's try again, or else I won't have room for the rest of it. Actually, it's noon. Okay. 이 보고서. 보고서 is a report. So this report, a 숫자. So the numbers of this report. 는. So let's talk about the numbers of this report for a second, okay? What? 무엇을 토대로 했어요? So what did you base them on? So the numbers in this report, what did you base the numbers of this report on? Is what it's saying. Again, 바탕으로. You could have said 바탕으로, like what are they founded on? What are they based on? What's their ground? It's an abstract word if you use 바탕 because it has many meanings. 토대, again, is not as abstract. It means the structure, like the base of a building, that sort of meaning. So like, what did you actually base these? What did you actually build these on is what you're saying. So what are they actually based on? You can kind of think of it like that. So it has that kind of nuance, like actually based. So what are these numbers actually based on in your report? 이 보고서의 숫자는 무엇을 토대로 했어요? 무엇을 토대로 했어요? Like that. 이 보고서의 숫자는 무엇을 토대로 했어요? So what are these numbers in your report based on? Or actually not your report, it could be anyone's report. What did you base the numbers of this report on? Darth David, welcome. 안녕하세요. I currently started learning Korean. I found your Hangul lesson really helpful. Yes, you did. Perfect. Okay, so again, all of these 4 words are synonyms, and you can use any of them in any sentence if you find them. Just know that their nuance is a little bit different, and if you don't know which one to pick, just pick 바탕, because that's the most common of them. But you also don't really need that. You can also just use 으로, and it'll also work too. 이 보고서의 숫자는 뭘로 했어요? Well, I guess you would just say, you could say that. Would you base them on or something like that? Anyway. Or 어떻게 찾았어요? And that is the lesson. Let me quickly take a thumbnail. I think something like that. That'll work for the thumbnail. This Sunday coming up, we need new voting options. So if you have any topic you would like me to cover in a live stream, even if I've kind of covered it before, send me a message on Discord. You can just what do you call it? Just mention me, just include my username on Discord and send me the message. Send me what you want to learn about. And I might add it to the voting options, which are going up tomorrow morning. So if you have anything else you would like me to teach, please let me know today. That way I can add it to the voting options for tomorrow. Besides that, now I'm going to open up for a short Q&A. So I'll stick around for maybe like 20 minutes. And I'll answer any questions you might have, and then we'll end the stream for today. That's pretty much it. That was a short lesson. I mean, it's advanced, but there wasn't too much we had to talk about, right? Because the form is pretty easy to use. I just wanted to make sure we have enough sentences. If you want more examples, also make sure to get the worksheet. The worksheet has an additional 10 sentences, I believe. Yeah, 10 sentences extra that you can practice with. So this outline, which will also go up on Patreon in about half an hour, this one has, I think, 7 or 8 sentences on there. So it's not a lot for the lesson. But yeah, the worksheet has an extra 10. So if you need some more examples, make sure to get that. I think my tablet's like dusty. It keeps thinking I'm clicking on it when I'm not. Mikey asks, Any advice for breaking into the intermediate level? Yes. It's the same advice as, actually it's not the same. It's similar to the advice that you would need for getting from intermediate to advanced. You need to do way more listening practice and speaking practice. That's the only way to get into the intermediate level, because you can learn a certain amount of Korean just by sitting at your house all by yourself in front of a computer or with a book. You can still learn basic Korean conversation without actually having Korean conversations. Like basic conversation. I'm not talking about like fluency or anything, but like really basic sentences, understanding really basic sentences. You can learn that without ever going to Korea, without ever having Korean friends or anything like that. But in order to get past there, it's not possible unless you're doing plenty of listening and speaking practice on your own. You can't just do one or the other. So really the best way is just have a practical use for the language. Ask yourself, how can I practically use this language? I mean, you should have a way to use it anyway, but maybe that's like, oh, my friend is Korean. And, I mean, you probably don't want to make a friend just for a language partner, but let's say you know someone who likes your cooking and they speak Korean. You want to do like a trade, like, hey, I'll cook you some food and then please talk with me in Korean for like 30 minutes or something. Or you want to hire a budget teacher just to tell them just to make you speak in Korean on the internet, get like an online tutor or something. Or maybe you live in Korea and you can go to like language exchange meetings where they speak to you in English and you try to use Korean to them. Any sort of practical usage for the language is what's going to let you get into the intermediate level. There is no way to sneak into the intermediate level by like, if I can't just say, oh, do more vocab review, do more grammar review. That's not going to actually get you there. Those are the pieces you need to improve within like levels. But in order to actually jump, you're going to need to have tons of actual usage of the language. So like trying to use it in your real life as much as possible. Do you have a schedule for when you go live? Yes. On my YouTube channel, you'll see a tab that says posts or community. I think it's actually community. Anyway, you'll see a tab for community posts. And in there, I'll always post whatever the next lesson's going to be. There will also be the voting options there. So you can always see if there's going to be a lesson. I'll always announce if there's not a lesson on Sundays. Most Sundays have a lesson, but it'll be usually like 2 Sundays in a row and then 1 off. This next Sunday, we do have another lesson. So next Sunday, same time. Oh, hey, Raymond. Thank you. Raymond says, well, let's see what Raymond says. I'm taking a shot after each time the word based is said in the abridged version later. Oh my God. I have the chance to do the funniest thing. Hey, Raymond, I gotta make sure your name's bigger than Lexica. Almost, it's about twice as big. Thank you, Raymond. I'll keep that in mind when I'm editing. I'll start the video just like base. Okay, now that Raymond's dead, let's continue with the lesson. Andrea says, 포기하지 마세요. 하지 못하세요. Oh, I think you mean 마세요 or 못해요. Unless you're saying someone else can't give up. 포기하지 못하세요. Then someone else cannot give up. Then that would make sense. Okay, yeah, that's true. Raymond didn't specify. I think all 3 would kill him though. If he had like, I mean, yeah, vaccine's good, but what if you're taking like 20 of them? Would that be okay? I don't know actually how that would work. Would that be bad or not? I guess it would depend on what the vaccine is. Some it might not matter. Yeah, alcohol, that's probably gonna be harmful to him. Anyway. Kinner says our 기반으로. Oh, I just taught that at the end, but the same usage, same meaning, yes, just different nuances. Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll stick around for about 15 minutes. So feel free if you have any questions, I can answer them. I don't know. I want to show you the podcast set, but the episode actually, you won't be able to see it until next week, not this coming week, but the next week, Friday is when it's actually going to be launched. That's when you'll get to see the set completely. This Wednesday, if you are one of my Patreon members, you can listen to the first episode and download the transcript for it. So that's something you can look forward to. Again, if you're one of my top Patreon members, you can also watch the full video episode this Wednesday as well. Next Wednesday, you can get to, sorry, not next Wednesday, but next Monday, not this Monday, but the next Monday, you're also going to get to watch the first episode of my new Monster X series. So Shonu is the first member, of course, that I'm going to be analyzing. There will be 6 in a row. I don't know if anyone's watching who's a Monster X fan, but that'll be starting from next week. I'm thinking about it. Probably Borita. Oh, that's good. Okay. You know what? It depends how much you're drinking, because, you know, it could still be toxic to drink too much water or too much tea. I don't know how much you'd have to drink, but your water can be toxic if you have too much of it. Although most people are not physically capable of doing that. It could happen if you were like drinking the water too quickly, then your body takes in more than it can process at a time, and that can also cause death, pretty much. It can hurt you. Don't do that. One time I did that. I was drinking. I found out that I'm able to drink water really, really fast. Randomly one day as a teenager, I tried it out and I found out, oh, I can do this. Like, I found out I opened up my like throat way in the back, not my breathing tube, but like my throat for swallowing stuff. I realized I could down an entire bottle of water as fast as I could push it into my mouth. And I thought, oh, this is really cool. I didn't know I had this talent. And I did it. And then after I did it, like the first time, I'm like, wow, that's cool. And I did it a second time, and I was like, I felt dizzy, like I was going to pass out. It was not good. I felt really bad for like half an hour. I was like dizzy. I had to go sit down. I couldn't like breathe properly. I was like not doing good. And then I was okay after that, but I decided, okay, that was stupid. I shouldn't do that again. Billy's recommends Ba탕으로 improved in Korea. Okay. Darth asks, would you recommend that I completely learn Hangul, like be comfortable with all consonants and vowels before moving on to learn words? As I know most, but still need to remember the vowels. No, I would say the opposite. I would say don't completely learn the alphabet before you move on. Because there is no way, I mean, no matter what I say, it's not, I could say learn it before you go on, but if I say learn it before you go on, you're never going to go on. No one masters the alphabet. No one. I don't know where the idea is that you like supposed to master, who came up with the idea you're supposed to master the alphabet before you move on with the language. No, you learn the basics. You learn the letters. You should be able to recognize them, even if you can't do it quickly. You should be able to like look at a flashcard and be able to say, oh, that's that letter. You're not going to master them until you've mastered the actual language, because there are like, I think I remember reading something like 11,000 or so combinations of the letters that can go together. You're not going to be able to memorize all of those and get fast at them before you start learning the language. So no, just learn the letters basically. Write down notes for sound change rules. Download my free sound change rules cheat sheet and my alphabet cheat sheet. Put them up on your wall. They're free. And just move on. You'll need to refer to your notes again. You might have to go back to your alphabet lesson notes and try to remember, oh yeah, I forgot that letter can be written like this too. That's fine. But yeah, please don't wait until you've mastered the letters or you feel comfortable before you move on. Just move on, because you're going to get comfortable at it while learning the language, not by focusing on just the letters. Anyway, you won't be able to get any better at them until you've actually started learning the language, is what I wanted to say. Oh yeah, Cosmo, welcome. New member. Mimi says, Discord confuses me, so here's a topic I would appreciate you including in the poll. Okay, I think I may have already done that one. I'm not sure if I did a whole separate lesson about just that. I know I've done that in a lesson though before. There was a live stream where I taught 되다 as well as 지다, like attaching to descriptive verbs. Have you seen that lesson already? If not, check that out. Check that one out first. Sigominko is asking, is May a good month for a Korea visit or is June better? Oh my God, May is the best month for a Korea visit. Please go in May if you can go. No, June's okay, but June starts to get hot, especially toward the end of June. The middle of June is not too bad. It's like warm. The beginning of June is also warm. May is where it's at. If you go at the beginning of May, it's going to be kind of cool in the mornings. You're going to get such nice weather in May. The problem is everyone goes to Korea during May. Plane tickets are more expensive usually. I think a better time to go is like the end of October, like the middle or the end of October, if you're going to go for a few weeks, especially like the beginning of October. Like October, sometime in October is really good. October is like the May of the fall, and you get the end of summer. So it's not like cold during the day. It'll be like cool at nights and kind of warm in the day. And then it transitions slowly into November, which starts to get a little cold. I think October is a better month. You also get better air quality typically in October, whereas May, when the summer's coming in and the winter's ending, you usually get worse air quality. So if you're sensitive to that, you might have to wear a mask outside. I sometimes do in that time. So yeah, between May and June, May wins, I think. But really the best time to go to Korea is when you can do stuff. If your friend says, hey, come to Korea, we'll hang out. But I'm only free, this month or this week. Because some people, if they're students, they might be busy through May and through June because they have their tests. Like one of my friends is a teacher and they only have time like from the end of June or something like that because they're always busy like helping people with their studying before then. So find out when you can do things, who you can meet when they're free, and just go whenever you can do something over there and whenever you can afford it. Plane tickets also they vary a lot. So Hitter says, I skipped over the alphabet and only learned the speaking understanding part. Now I'm paying for it as my listening speaking skills are high, but I can't read the alphabet. Oh yeah, you shouldn't skip it, but you don't need to master it. Lady Natbug and Billy's beginner course. Typed too fast. I learned the alphabet first and now I feel immediately more comfortable learning Korean. I take notes quick and can read along when I watch something with subtitles. Nice. I can't imagine any other way. Yeah, learn the alphabet, but yeah, just don't try to master it. That's okay. I'm enjoying the current temperature, though I like hoodie weather. Keith, if you like hoodie weather, then I would say you would really like the end of April and the middle of November. Those are like the times when it's hoodie weather. It's not cold yet that you're going to need like a bunch of coats. Middle of November though could be okay. Beginning of November, I'll say beginning of November is like that. It's like hoodie weather. You could just get by with like a hoodie and maybe you get some gloves to keep your hands warm and that you're good with that. As well as the end of April, it's still kind of like hoodie weather. It's not warm yet. But Korea doesn't really have a long spring or a long fall. It's really short. Like it's like a day. I don't know. It's like, it feels like it's really, really short, like a week or something that you get the spring and the fall seasons. And the rest of the time, it just feels like winter and summer most of the time. I guess it's like that everywhere though now. The autumn foliage in Korea is so beautiful. Yes. Autumn is really nice. If you want, the spring equivalent would be the 벚꽃. The cherry blossoms in spring would be the equivalent to that, but you have to time it. Every year, it's different. So you might find out like in Korea, I think some years it's been like February or something ridiculous. I went once when it was at the end of April and I just so happened to be in Korea. I think it was the end of April. Yeah, it was like, I would just so happen to be in Korea at that time. And I got to see the cherry blossoms. This was like maybe a decade ago. But normally when I go to Korea, it always is gone. It's like March sometimes. So if you get there during the cherry blossom time, beautiful. Otherwise, if you want to have really pretty colors, then the fall colors are easy to get to because they last a long time. They go through They go from, I'd say, October all the way through into like December, and before the leaves start to all freeze and fall off. So Keith, Billy does not realize you're in Korea. Oh, I didn't know you're in Korea right now. Keith, how is Korea? Let's see, right now, if it is the middle of November-ish, it's probably getting kind of cold at nighttime and in the morning. And in the daytime, you probably would be okay with a hoodie and like a long t-shirt. I think that's what I would do, would be just a long t-shirt and a hoodie during the daytime in November, and that would be mostly fine. Or even just a hoodie. Depends on where I'm going and what I'm doing. Nice. Yeah, I didn't go to Korea though last year during the fall, and this year I probably won't go again during the fall because I would go anytime I have like videos I want to film, but I haven't had a lot of videos that I wanted to film that needed to be filmed in Korea for a while, so I haven't gone there more than just my summer trip. So I'll be there again in the summer, probably again from the end of May until the end of July, like June, July, yeah, about 2 months. But okay. Any other anything else you're curious about related to Korea or Korean? I'll stick around just a couple more minutes and then we'll stop the stream for today. It's a pretty fast lesson. Okay, there aren't that many of you watching live right now. I might show you something in just a second. It's 3 Celsius right now. I'm afraid to leave the house. 3 Celsius. Wow. That's really cold. Billy, how'd you master Korean accent? By doing something called shadowing, which I didn't do it purposely, but you could do it purposely, where you listen to someone speak and you try to imitate exactly the way that someone else talks that you hear. So if someone else says like, "Oh, 그거 아닌 것 같은데요?" Like they say exactly like that, then you listen to that. 그거 아닌 것 같은데요? 그거 아닌 것 같은데요? You listen to it, and when you say something, you try to repeat exactly what they say. You can do this with speaking. You can also do it with singing. So you can listen to songs, and you can try to repeat exactly the way that they sing it in the way that they sing it. And that can also help a little bit with like pronunciation and stuff. But it's really just lots and lots of listening and lots of speaking and focusing hard on how do I make myself sound like what I'm hearing. And the more listening practice you have, the easier it'll be to do. Coming from Michigan, oh, okay, well then you're used to like freezing weather and stuff. I'm thinking of watching cartoons in Korean with English subtitles. Don't watch English subtitles. Turn off the English subtitles. That's the advice I'll give you. If there are Korean subtitles, you can turn those on, but not English subtitles. Should I learn sentence structure and patterns? I mean, you should learn sentence structures and patterns, but listening practice is separate from that. Bryani says, do you have any tips specifically for memorizing vocabulary? Yes. Whenever you're learning a vocabulary word, try to look it up in the dictionary. Take notes of it, right? If it's a really common word, or if it's a word you've heard a few times, make a sentence with it. Like if you learn 하려 for like calendar or something. Like you learn 벽 for like wall. I don't know. 시계 for clock. Like any word that you're learning, try to make a simple sentence that you could do something with it in your head. Don't just write the word and write it down in your notebook and close it. Because you could learn, like theoretically, you can learn like hundreds of vocabulary words a day, but you're not going to be able to actually use them when it comes time that you need it. So focus on the words that you're hearing most often if you look up a word and it seems kind of like obscure or you haven't heard it very much, just take a note of it, look it up, but don't force yourself to learn that word. I think you're going to have a better use of your time just doing the ones you hear often. So I would say that focus on the words you're hearing often, do more listening practice than you think. And then every word that you do decide that you want to learn, be able to make a simple sentence with it when you write it down. That can be the sentence that you heard it used in. You can write that sentence down, or you can make a sentence on your own. But something like that, I would focus on. Is there a place I could check every combination for a syllable? There are like 11,000 or something I heard. So do you want like a chart of all of the all of the blocks that are possible with every letter? It's just this gigantic sheet. And they're used when people make Korean fonts. So if you search like fonts in Korean, you can find like the chart of the fonts, and you might see like all of the fonts drawn out. It's a ridiculous number of combinations. How many hours a day do you recommend we practice Korean? How many hours a day? As much as you can. I would say it depends on your goal. If your goal is just to learn a little bit of Korean to kind of understand shows, then just watch more shows. If your goal is, most people's goal is to actually be able to use Korean though, not like, what's the point of understanding a Korean show if you're not going to speak Korean? Like, what's the point to turn on the show and understand it? Like, why? You can just turn on subtitles if you want to understand it. No, you want to learn Korean because you want to also be able to use it, right? But depending on how, what's the word? What are your goals specifically? Like, are you trying to master Korean? Is your goal to become fluent? Is it become like basic conversational? Do you just want to be able to say a few sentences here or there? Like what exactly is your goal? How ambitious are your goals? And that would depend on that for how many hours a day you'd want to study. If someone comes up to me and says, Billy, I want to be able to speak, basic conversational Korean during my trip in 2 years to Korea, I'd say, oh, great. You have a good timeline. Study for, try to do an hour a day and talk to me again in 3 months and let's see how you're doing. If someone says, I'm trying to become like fluent in Korean by next week, I would say, okay, well, let's do 87 hours a day. And then, we'll work up from there. So there isn't really a magic number, but the more you can do, the better. The more listening practice you can do, the better. The more speaking, all of that, the more the merrier. But if you're thinking, how much Korean can I learn if I only have like 5 minutes a day to devote to the language? The answer is not really any. You could probably learn in 5 minutes a day. It's enough to watch like a few Instagram shorts. It's not enough to learn any level of practical Korean usage at all. Not even like making sentences. If you have like, say 30 minutes a day, you could spend 5 minutes of that a day on vocab, 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day of that on grammar studying, like watching abridged videos on my channel or a lesson in your book or whatever. And then 15 to 20 minutes or so of listening practice. I'd say that's a better usage of your time, but 30 minutes a day also won't really get you that high in the language, even over a long period of time. So yeah, this is something I would discuss on a case-by-case basis, depending on the person. I used to be a typographer. Oh, cool. Okay. So you've made some fonts before, basically, and I'm a font addict. Nice. I like fonts too. I have a ton of Korean fonts. When will the podcast? Noah, the podcast will be available on Patreon first this Wednesday, the first episode. And then for everyone else, the podcast will be available on the channel the week after on, I think, Friday. Thursday or Friday, the week after. Becky asked, do you give private lessons? I do, but you probably don't need me as a private tutor, I'll say. Like, I teach all my stuff for free, so what would you want if I did a private tutor for you? I do have options, though. You can message me on Discord. I just never promote it. Because, I mean, you don't need a private tutor. If you want to have a private tutor, you can just hire a Korean person and pay them like $8 an hour and just say, speak Korean to me for an hour. And that'll be an amazing usage of your time and money. Whereas for me, it's like, you can ask me questions, but I'll answer your questions for free anyway during the live stream. So what's the point? I'm interested in visual stress and type and was curious if Japanese, Chinese, Korean migraines from fonts. I'm not sure what you mean. Kinar says, do you think your Korean is good enough to make a Korean who isn't looking at you think you're Korean? Sure, but that's not as high of a level as you think. That's a common misconception that if a Korean says you sound like a Korean, or if they didn't know you're Korean on the phone, that must mean your Korean is good. No, it could mean your Korean is good. And I mean, it means you speak some Korean, but you can present a fluent you can sound fluent with surprisingly little Korean, I found. I mean, I would hear people complimenting my Korean when I had only been studying for like 6 to 8 months. It's not that big of a deal. And when I talk to people on the phone, sure, they wouldn't know, but why would they assume otherwise? Like, they're not looking for that. So if you're trying to say, can I trick someone into, like, who's listening for it? Like, could you trick me? If someone was speaking to me in Korean, would I be able to tell if they're a native Korean speaker or not? I probably could tell, no matter who it is, because I'm listening for certain things, because I know what other Korean speakers would say, like the expressions they would use, like, oh, that's not what a native Korean would typically say. But would a Korean who's not looking for that know? Most of the time, no. Like, if you were to pick up the phone, and if I were to answer the phone in English, let's say I'm not a native English speaker. Let's say I'm learning English, and someone answered the phone and they're like, hello? Oh, hello. I have a question. What is the best way? Like, are you going to think they're not a native English speaker? Unless you think about it for a second, you're just going to think, oh, maybe they're tired. Yeah, I guess they're a little tired, or maybe they're eating something, or maybe they're busy, they're distracted. Like, you would assume all these other things first before you think, oh, wait, they're not a native English speaker. Oh my goodness. You're not really going to care about that. And Korean's the same. They're not going to think, oh, this is a foreigner speaking Korean. They're just going to think, oh, I guess they just speak Korean like that. They just use that expression. You know, they pronounce this word wrong, I guess. So you can easily fool someone into thinking that you're a native Korean. But to answer your question, yes. Yeah, 한국어 잘하시네요. Yeah, you're going to hear that a lot. You'll get 한국어 잘하시네요 even when you make mistakes, which is kind of funny. Like, you could say something wrong in Korean and they're going to say, oh, 한국어 잘하시네요. Like, oh, thanks. Even sometimes I had that as a beginner where I would say something, and after I made the sentence, I realized I messed up. I used the wrong marker, or I used the wrong word or something. And they would just immediately reply, oh, 한국말 너무 잘하시네요. Like, oh, 감사합니다. 아니에요. Like, it just is. It is what it is. Okay, before we go, I'm going to stop the stream. Before we go, I'm going to show you something. This is a secret, because there aren't very many of you left here, so this is kind of like a reward for those of you who stuck around. Hold on, let me just move something around real quick. Let's move my microphone over here. Can I show this? Okay. You're going to get to see something no one else has seen. Join me here while I introduce you to a brand new world. All right. Oh, let me let's change my. Okay, here we go. All right, okay. You ready? Are you ready? Oh wait, I forgot the light's not even. Hold on, I gotta move this light off here. One second. Give me one more second. Hold on, one more second. I forgot. I didn't move my light off here. 1 second. This is gonna be blocking the whole way if I don't move this. Okay, there we go. That's a little better. Okay. All right, let's see if I can show you. All right. Okay. You ready, everyone? Okay. Drum roll. Okay. Now we can try again. Okay, so hopefully this will be. It's kind of dark, but that's because of the camera settings. The room's not dark. All right, here is the new set. There's the new set. You can see it. See the new set. I'll be sitting right there, right here actually. Oh, these aren't. I'll be sitting right here. And yeah, that's where the guests will appear on that TV, and you'll see this coming up. So you'll see it in a couple weeks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, now I got this big giant light behind me. Okay. Yeah. Now I can't even say hi to you guys anymore because this giant light is here. There we go. Okay, I'll have to be up here. That way you can see me. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, it looks so different on the Patreon video. You'll see it. You'll see it. It looks cool in the final product. Korean socks. Yes, I wear Korean socks for the podcast. You'll see. Okay. It's gonna be so random when people watch the abridged video. They're gonna see suddenly it's like the lighting's all different. Everything's changed. Oh my goodness, this light is so big. Thank you everyone for coming. The microphone's like way over here too. Thank you everyone for coming, and I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐. I actually have to turn off the camera.